On number 16, I'm asked to specifically use the quadratic formula to find the solutions to this function. So again, the quadratic formula requires us to know what the a, b, and c values are from this quadratic. So remember, the standard form of a quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c. So the number in front of x squared is my a, so a is 2. The number in front of x is my b, so b is positive 4. The constant, the number without a variable, is my c value, and that's negative 15. That sign goes with that number. So once I do that, instead of trying to cram everything into the formula at one time, I suggest that you find it in 3 different stages. The first stage is to do just like you did on number 15 and find the discriminant. Because if the discriminant gives you a negative number, that means you have no solution, so there's really no need in continuing on with the problem. So again, make sure you put those values into parentheses when you put them in your calculator, and that you put b in here. So 4 goes in the first parentheses, close it, and then square it. Then minus 4 times a is 2, times c is negative 15. So I'm going to put that in my calculator with those parentheses around the 4, close it and square it. Minus 4 times my a of 2 times my c of negative 15. So just double check that you have entered everything correctly there. Remember, this is subtraction in front of the 4. And so I get a positive number, and it's 136. So I do need to continue on. I'm going to get 2 solutions to this quadratic. So the second stage, I would do this opposite b part, or negative b. That means that whatever b is, you want the opposite sign of it. Well, b was positive 4, so the opposite of b is going to be negative 4. And then the third thing is to do the denominator, which is 2a. That simply means to take your a value and multiply it by 2. So a was 2, and when I multiply that by 2, I get positive 4. So now that I have these 4 parts, I'm going to put them into the appropriate place in my formula. So first goes my opposite of b, which I found to be negative 4. The first time I'm going to do addition here. And then I want the square root of my discriminant. So I'm wanting the square root of 136. And I want to divide that whole thing by 2a. So when I put this in my calculator, I'm going to put this numerator in parentheses. So my calculator knows this whole thing is divided by 2a. And remember, 2a is 4. So that's how I'm going to put that in my calculator, is just like that. So I'm going to open the parentheses and put that opposite of b number, then plus the square root of my discriminant, which was 136, and then I'm going to right arrow out of that radical before I close that parentheses, and then divide that by my 2a value, which is 4. And that'll give me my first solution. And it says to round to the nearest hundredth. Remember, that's 2 decimal places. So there's a 1 there right now, but the 5 next door is going to make that 1 become a 2. So this is approximately 1.92. Now the second thing, the only thing I need to change, is that addition is going to become subtraction. So everything else stays exactly the same. It's just addition becomes subtraction. So to do that quickly in my calculator, I can just hit the up arrow and highlight the problem I entered previously, press enter, and it'll bring it down here. So all I have to do is left arrow over and go to the addition sign and change it to subtraction. That way I don't have to re-enter that into my calculator. So rounding that to the nearest hundredth, again, there's a 1 in the hundredth spot. Next door is a 5, so that 1's going to become a 2. So negative 3.92 is my second solution. So these are my 2 solutions using the quadratic formula.